But I want to turn to Facebook right now because former Facebook staffers are accusing the social media giant of deliberately suppressing conservative news in its feed, which relies on computer algorithms to determine what is trending. Staffers are alleging that Facebook is tweaking these algorithms so that conservative news, no matter how popular it is, doesn't show up on the social network's trending menu. Facebook denies any political bias in all of this and released the following statement, and I quote, "We take allegations of bias very seriously. Facebook is a platform for people and perspectives from across the political spectrum."
But Reince Priebus and the RNC calling reports of censoring conservatives chilling and adding, quote, "With 167 million U.S. Facebook users reading stories highlighted in the trending section, Facebook has the power to greatly influence the presidential election." Harris, you're nodding your head.
That's really the problem here. It's he chose to, well, I should say one of the problems, to make trending, to make important, to slant. It's one thing to quiet a source and to censor it, but then to draw attention to something else to make you think that that's the most important. So it would be the liberal point of view or whatever. That's really an egregiousness that if they have a department that's in charge of this, they might want to clean house.
Hey, Kat, you know, I was surprised actually to read this report because I've covered tech for a long time and I know that most things are dictated by algorithms. And I assumed that this was being done by an algorithm, and it was surprising to me that they had human beings in there sort of sorting it out. Right. Of course, anytime you insert humans, whether they mean to or not, their bias comes in.
Exactly. The fact that there were humans doing this proves that there has to be some sort of bias at work because, like you say, all humans are biased. Everybody has it. And they just kind of denied it. But this is something that people talk about all the time. You know, conservatives, you know, media and you know, mainstream liberal. But you see examples of it, and it's kind of scary because, like you're saying, a lot of people do get their news only from places like Facebook. So it's not just about Facebook. That's people's news.
I mean, maybe that's the scary part.
That's sad, but
that is a little scary if you're getting your news from Facebook. But you're right, especially younger people do get their news from Twitter, from Facebook, online, on their devices. If this is true, it's disgraceful. There's no, I mean, there's no excuse for it. And you're absolutely right. This should be an algorithm, nothing else. If something's trending, it's because enough people are looking at it for it to trend or whatever the algorithm is.
Why would you need people?
Why would you need somebody? Why would you need somebody to go in there?
Melissa, I know you have interviewed a lot of the heads of these tech companies. So I think that we understand the difference between what's obscene and then what is censorship. Right? So if you're telling me that you don't want bad words on the site, as a mom, I'm good with that. But if you're telling me that you don't want conservatives or liberals or any other group, then I have to scratch my head. And I agree with you, Catherine, that we all have a bias. We're human. What we're asked to do as journalists and what we're asked to do as ethics keepers in different positions is to be able to put that bias aside and make a decision not about who is right, but what is right to get to the truth. That's what our job is. And so do they have somebody in that department who can do that? Because if they don't, again, clean house and let a machine do it.
And now Washington is looking into this. Just moments ago, South Dakota Senator John Thune sent a list of questions to Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg. Well, joining me now with more, Howie Kurtz, the host of Media Buzz on the Fox News channel. Howie, good to see you. Is this going to turn into some kind of, you know, he said, she said? I mean, on the one hand, you got people like Jan and a number of other conservatives, as well as former employees there at Facebook, coming out saying they do tweak all this so as to prevent conservative news from making their feed. Mark Zuckerberg, Facebook, they're saying, no, we don't do this. We don't know what you're talking about. How are they going to prove this one?
I don't think Facebook effectively addressed these accusations from journalists who are hired as contractors, and most people didn't know this. They thought it was some mindless algorithm to tweak this formula, and what goes into trending topics is important because that gets more traffic. I think they made a pretty good case. Now, they were unnamed, speaking to the tech site Gizmodo, that there was bias in the way that news from conservative sites wasn't necessarily put up there unless it was confirmed by a more mainstream left-leaning site, or certain stories involving Republican politicians or CPAC also not up there. This really strikes at the heart of the credibility of Facebook as a neutral platform, and given its massive reach around the world, this is a really big deal.
Well, you know, I don't think Mark Zuckerberg is exactly neutral in all of this. I mean, think about what he has said, sort of the views that he has espoused when it comes to dealing with the threat of terrorism, and he still insists on the need for us to be an incredibly open society, open community, open country, even after we've suffered at the hands of these terrorists. So he has a most definite political bias. Is that, you know, even if unintentionally, affecting his employees?
Well, there's no question that Mark Zuckerberg is a sort of out-of-the-closet liberal, but even these unnamed employees who spoke to Gizmodo didn't allege this was coming down in some kind of top-down order from management. They said it was the bias of those who were hired who kind of leaned left. At the same time, and I find this really troubling, and I think we have not gotten anywhere near the bottom of it, Trish, I'm not sure Facebook should respond to John Thune in his letter of inquiry about how do you pick these stories that go into trending topics, because, well, in this case, Facebook is kind of functioning as a newsroom. It's employing journalists, biased as it might be. If Thune had sent a letter like that to the New York Times or the Washington Post or Fox News, we'd probably tell them to buzz off because, you know,
we have
this is journalism.
We have that ability to select what we want to put out as programming, but it's a little odd because Facebook is promising that no, they don't have that ability and they don't want that ability. They're just, you know, putting forth what other people think is important. It's kind of like you know, faulty marketing if you think about it, Howie. It's not right to say you're doing one thing and then do another.
It's a little bit of false advertising, and even Facebook acknowledges that, yes, it does hire these human beings to play with the formulas, to try to push certain stories into this trending list, or in the view of these former employees, they blacklist certain stories having to do with conservatives or conservative topics. So, you know, this is actually a real crisis. This is a real crisis. But should the government be involved in investigating this? That's the question I have to think a little more about.
Howie Kurtz, thank you so much.